What's interesting this morning, guys, is that you don't see any contagion, really. Not in a big way, Luke. This isn't bringing the whole market down significantly.
That's so far the big story, and the bigger story of this earnings season to me, the fact that Netflix reports disappointing earnings. The next day, the other members of FANG are all up more than 1%. Google reports, Facebook and Amazon share in about 40% of the move. And today, they're sharing in about 10% of the downside. So this privatization of the losses and socialization of the gains is something that's been helping tech so far this earnings season. But I don't know how long that can last in a world where, we're talking about death of FANG the same way we're talking about death of BRICS.
Romain?
But isn't there sort of a common theme here, too? We talk about saturation. That was the story with Netflix. You talk about saturation. That was the story last night. You talk about saturation. That's the story with Amazon. I feel like with all these FANG names, we're talking about whether these companies have reached some sort of peak that really can't be surmounted, and I think that's why you saw such a big reaction today in Facebook. It's one of the reasons why I think you're seeing Amazon down this morning.
But I keep coming back to this one point. I saw this in a bond market at the back end of last year. You get a Tesla issue that comes out priced at that maturity, at that credit rating with the lowest yield on record, and then everyone wakes up to Tesla issues in the bond market. Toys R Us trading near par, then all of a sudden Toys R Us near bankruptcy. Facebook running aggressively, then all of a sudden Facebook gaps lower by 20%. These are big issues. They're not penny stocks, they're big issues. And time again over the last 12 months, the market has got it massively wrong. Luke, why? And what is happening elsewhere?
I think a lot of this plays into just the lack of stories that you have, like a FANG group that are out there in the markets. The idea that these names aren't as economically sensitive as you'd say, and Michael Purvis, I was just talking to him at Wheaton. He said, these growth stories are actually fairly discreet. When Netflix misses, you don't think that says something about the economy or says something about a Facebook or an Amazon. So kind of this idea that there's very few places you can go for this kind of growth will have people holding on and pushing valuations as much as they push them.